Okay, I just gotta talk about some of these posters. This is one I found on Pinterest. It's very cute. It's very problematic. It says, I'm sensitive. I love deeply. I think deeply about life. Well, actually, like the deeper processing, deeper thinking, that is part of being highly sensitive. We are deep thinkers, yes. But now, I am honest, loyal, and true. Is this like a Valentine's card? I'm honest, loyal, and true. That is just a little bit too self-congratulatory. I'm honest and true. Like, you're a person also. Like, you're not always going to be honest, and you're not... And what does true even mean? I'm true. It's very romantic. I appreciate the simple things. I will not change. What do you mean you will not change? Like, okay, a part of you will not change, but we all change. Like, that's part of being human. Like, we grow up and we change somewhat. It says, I will not change or harden to this world. Okay, yes, I kind of support that. Like, we don't want to harden. We want to stay open, stay kind. But, there's things that are going to happen that sometimes you do harden and you have to kind of soften up again and open up again. It is this sensitivity, perception, sincerity, awareness, affection, and gentle grace that makes me who I am. Now, just this makes me want to barf. It's like, this is so Victorian. It's like, the gentle grace of being a highly sensitive person. What can compare? It's just, ugh. Okay, moving on to the next poster. Okay, we've got one here on empaths. Empaths may be sensitive, but they aren't delicate little flowers that you can bully without consequences. Like, what consequences? What is this person talking about? This sounds very mobster-like. Okay, they are among the strongest, most kick-ass people I know. Mess with the wrong empath and let me know how it goes. It's like, oh my God. And help. Okay, so this is not the definition of, or the approach to empaths that I don't, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what do I say about this? Mess with the wrong empath and let me know how it goes. Okay, so this is very, very, very revenge-like. This is like, we're nice and gentle, but if you mess with us, we'll like, rah, attack you. That has absolutely nothing to do with being an empath. This sounds more like borderline personality disorder. Like, I'm a cute little flower, but if you do something I don't like, then you're an evil bastard and I will destroy you. That's what this sounds like. Okay, moving on to another poster. Let's see what else I can find here. Okay, another one on empaths. An empath is someone with a natural ability to understand the emotional, mental, and physical state of a person or animal. But this is a tall order, okay? Understanding someone's emotional, mental, and physical states, like the whole thing, the whole state, that's a really big claim to make. Someone who senses, feels, and reads the energy around them. So what I don't like about this quote is that it's making some really, really grand claims about how much an empath can know, right? Empaths don't know everything. Empaths pick up on some things about people, some energies from people, some emotions from people, but they don't have the full picture. They don't have the whole story. And this poster is suggesting that an empath, does like a huge scan of somebody and has like the full picture. And there's a few reasons I don't like this. One, that assumption. One, because it's not true. But two, because it creates this grandiosity. Like, that if you're an empath, you suddenly have this like massive wisdom about everything and everyone. And it's not that simple and it's not that grand. You get some information and insights and impressions, but you have to decipher it and you have to place it in a bigger context and remind yourself that there's still a lot that you don't know. So this kind of, like empaths look at a crystal ball and see everything. I really don't like those kinds of approaches to this. I think it's very problematic and I think it's somewhat dangerous and it's encouraging a kind of narcissism that says, ooh, I have all this insight because I'm an empath, therefore everything I sense, that's like the truth about someone. And like, like where's the realistic humility that says, well, there's some things I picked up about this person, but there's a lot I don't know. All right, moving on. Okay, here's another one about empaths. 5 claims that empaths are supposedly about. Empaths know when you're lying. Empaths can feel toxic energy approaching. Empaths are very connected to their partner's emotions. Empaths need lots of time alone to recharge. Empaths are extremely hard to manipulate. Okay, so needing time alone to recharge, sure. Are very connected to their partner's emotions, yes, sure. But here, empaths know when you're lying. No, they don't. No, they don't. Because to know that somebody is lying requires a few different things. You need to sense a difference between the truth and what the person is saying. And if there is some truth that you can reference, then you might be able to do that. Like, oh, they're clearly lying because, I know what the truth is. So, and they're not saying that, so they're wrong. But, lying is a very complicated something. Lying, a lot of things that people lie about are things that you don't know what is the truth anyway. You have no idea. The only thing you can sense as an empath is when there is maybe a clash, when someone's like doing something on one level and doing something else on another level. But the biggest liars on the planet are very convinced of what they're saying. And when somebody's really convinced of what they're saying, you're not going to pick up on that. You're not going to pick up on the fact that there's going to be no clash. This person believes what they're saying. So this idea that empaths know when you're lying, again, it's dangerous because, again, it suggests that empaths have this, like, they're always right about what they're picking up on or what they're concluding, right? That you're just like, an empath figured this out, so therefore it's the truth. Very, very dangerous because you might be able to sense when some people are lying, but it doesn't mean you can sense when everyone is lying. And this is something I hear a lot from people. The people who are kind of obsessed with others who are lying, very often they have this unrealistic demand that everyone always say the truth. But people are complex, people are layered, people are not always going to know the truth about the situation or themselves, and so they can't express it, right? And so demanding that everybody's always like fully transparent is just not possible as a human to do that. So this is, this whole thing, empaths know when you're lying, this is a very simplistic, but I see this a lot on all these kinds of posters. Empaths know when you're lying. Maybe, maybe not. Empaths can feel toxic energy approaching. Again, this is very complicated because a lot of people use the word toxic energy to just reference just emotions they don't like. And emotions you don't like are not toxic, they're just emotions you don't like. Now, there is a very specific kind of toxic energy that comes with psychic attack, but that is very, very subtle, I can tell you. It takes a very long time, and very good self-awareness, energy awareness, really deep healing before you can sense that coming on, because it flies under the radar. And I can tell you, most empaths do not feel that kind of toxic energy approaching. They have to learn how to recognize it. All right, number 3, fine. I mean, empaths are basically emotionally codependent in many ways and psychically and energetically codependent. So yes, they're going to be very connected to their partner's emotions. Too much so. It's not healthy. You need to be in a space where your partner can have his or her own emotions and you can have your own emotions, and it's not constantly bleeding into your well-being, right? But yeah, as an untrained empath, this is what happens. Needing lots of time alone to recharge, and empaths are extremely hard to manipulate. No. I would argue that empaths can be extremely easy to manipulate, precisely for the reason that I explained for point number 1, where if somebody is lying, but they really believe their lie, and if you're someone who thinks that you're a perfect lie detector, and you're like, well, I can't discern any kind of dissonance, so that must be the truth, you're going to get taken in by the worst psychopaths on the planet. So some humility and some kind of, this is what I'm sensing, but maybe there's something I'm missing, is really, really helpful. It doesn't matter how intuitive you are, like, you always have to put that in perspective and be like, well, there's some things I notice, but it doesn't mean I know everything. So, all right, moving on. Okay, now this one is really problematic, and I'm probably gonna go off on a rant on this one. I can feel it coming. This is one of those very, very internety ones. Okay, signs that you are empathic. So not really sure what they mean exactly with that. They're suggesting a lot of different things. They say you cry when others cry. Okay, now you can cry for lots of different reasons, and you can cry when someone else is crying, and you have a lot of your own tears that have been repressed, and you end up crying too. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that. Well, we'll get to that. It doesn't necessarily mean what people always assume it means. Here, second one, you feed off of others' energy. Yikes, that is a really creepy thing to say. And what does that mean, and how do they think that's a positive thing? Feeding off of something literally means that you're depleting the other person. When I feed off of a banana, the banana there's going to be less of the banana. So this honestly sounds more like psychic narcissism, aka psychic vampirism, feeding off of other people's energy. It's not a good thing. And then this is an interesting clue here. You worry about what other people think of you. If you're constantly worrying about what other people think of you, that's a kind of narcissism. And I'm not saying that you are never allowed to feel that way or think that way. But if everything you're doing is like, I wonder what they'll think of me, I wonder what they'll think of me, that is narcissistic conditioning. Like that is because it's all about you, right? It's like me. Do they like me? Do they like me? Very self-absorbed. Has nothing to do with being empathic, which is why it's weird that it's in this list, which is why I wanted to discuss this poster too, because it's like, like if you're constantly obsessed about other people's opinion of you, you're empathic. No, you're just self-absorbed. Like, call it for what it is. Okay. You feel everything deeply. Okay, fine. Friends often ask you for advice. Okay, fine. You have many highs and lows. Like, taken out of context, you have many highs and lows could mean lots of different things. You pick up on vibes instantly. It's very vague. You're a natural healer. Again, very vague. I mean, like what is this healing that you're then doing naturally? Like, what does it consist of? What is it like? It's, I understand this is a poster, but again, these are the kind of bits that are kind of spread around and that people internalize as truths often about high sensitivity, about empaths, about being empathic, about all these things. So I do think it's important to kind of look at these posters a little bit more critically and be like, wait, what are they really saying here? Social situations leave you physically drained. Okay. But then how does this connect with you feed off of other people's energy, right? Like if you're feeding off of other people's energy, then social situations leave you physically uplifted and energized and inspired, which actually happens for a lot of people with psychic narcissism. They like being around people because they're constantly feeding off of other people's energy. So you treat your pets like humans. Okay, sure. You're highly sensitive. Yeah, okay. Your emotions have made you physically ill. Okay, but your emotions have made you physically ill. It's like, no. Like if you get physically ill from energies from other people as an empath, yes, that can happen, but your own emotions are not going to make you physically ill. That doesn't make any sense. So your own emotions are there to clarify and support and guide you, and they're not there to make you ill. It's only when you suppress them and you refuse to feel them that they make you ill. You put others' needs above your own. Okay, so that's just codependence. Your love is over the top. Human lie detector. Here we go again. Already talked about that one. Not going to go into it here. You prefer deep conversations over small talk. Okay, fine. You're overthinking everything. So, having deep conversations with others and preferring that and deeply processing things is not the same as overthinking everything. Like overthinking everything often comes from a deep sense of insecurity. And I think in this poster, it ties back to worrying about what other people think of you, right? So it's kind of this obsession with your image as opposed to just kind of getting on with life. So it's not really a trait. So that this poster, they have all these different things mixed together. The news is painful to watch. Yes, now, especially nowadays, it's like, ugh. You absorb emotions. Okay, so again, this is hinting at what empaths do, absorbing emotions, But when you absorb emotions from people, that's not feeding off of other people's energy. Empaths actually find it kind of weighs them down because they're absorbing all other people's heavy stuff that other people don't want. You're not feeding off of that. It's not a fun thing to experience. Your great listeners and commercials make you cry. Okay, so I mean, it's not all bad, but there are some little things in there that just make me go like, yikes, careful. And it's not this poster per se. It's just this is an example of a lot of posters that are out there like this, where you just casually throw in a bunch of different things that are actually pointing in different directions and pointing at different energy makeups that people can have, but they're kind of all thrown together. Okay, let's see if we can just do one last one. Okay, last one. Being an empath comes with a price, like anxiety, oversensitivity, and the constant feeling that your existence is a burden to everyone. No. And this has nothing to do with being an empath. So just take away the first sentence and just look at anxiety, oversensitivity, and the constant feeling that your existence is a burden to everyone. This is the expression of someone who feels unwanted and unloved, and who probably felt that way in their family of origin and was never really welcomed into the world. That's it. Like, of course there can be empaths who feel that way, but that's not what being an empath is or what it's about. This feeling unwanted, it can happen to anyone. Like, anyone who grew up in an abusive family will probably feel that way. Like, you're a burden to society, you're a burden to other people because nobody really wants you or likes you because you were never wanted as a kid, and you still have that, you still carry that around with you. So this kind of stuff requires healing. Like, this is stuff you can let go of, but it requires really deep healing. These are things I work on with clients when this comes up, right? This is very common. It's a very common way to feel that way. You can be in utero, and when you're growing as an embryo, as a tiny baby before you're born, you get a lot of information and feelings from your mother. And if your mother didn't want to get pregnant and kind of hated it, you're internalizing some of that. And then if you get treated as a little kid as someone who's a burden, who's in the way, oh, it's because of you that we have no money, it's because of you that we have no time, it's because of you that we have all these problems, this is what you end up with. But it has nothing to do with being an empath, and it has nothing to do with the price of being an empath. It has nothing to do with empaths, full stop. So, all right, I'm gonna get off my ranting, what is it? My ranting rants. I don't know how to call it. And thank you so much for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.